Welcome to Adventures Beyond the Horizon. This is where we delve into the essence of overlanding, the art of navigating uncharted paths, and the stories forged on the roads less traveled.
I'm John, and joining me is Anthony. Together, we will explore the profound experiences of our journeys, the intricacies of vehicle modifications, and the challenges and triumphs of off-road adventures.
Each episode, we'll share insights of our recent trips, and as well as uncover the deeper connections and transformative moments found in the world of overlanding. Subscribe to stay with us on this journey. Hello, all you adventurers. Welcome to another episode of Adventures Beyond the Horizon. I'm Anthony with my co-host John. Say hello, John.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going great. How are you doing?
Oh, living the dream. I'm still watching this cat Goopy, and he's right now pushing a bag around. It's quite funny.
Cats are always funny like that. Today, we're going to be talking about gear and modifications that we want to do to our current cars and our future ones. First, we're going to talk about suspension upgrades. Are you excited about this, John?
Oh, yeah. For mine, I really don't have many upgrade options. The only one I've been able to find is rough country leveling kits or lift kits. I believe that I've already talked about this previously, but the Ford stock Tremor packages for the Maverick come with the rough country 2-inch lift kit. That's something I'm looking forward to getting eventually.
I have a question. Does the lift kit come with an actual different suspension system, like with different dampeners, or does it use the factory dampeners? Because at that point, it's just a leveling kit.
No. It's a complete swap. It's the spring in dampener. Just you take out the old one, put the new ones in, and it is now 2 inches taller, which will give me access to better wheels and tire combination.
So at that point, you can get bigger tires. So it should be fun.
Yeah. So for the tires, I was looking at I believe they were BFG tires. They were an all-terrain aggressive mud tires that I want to get a wheel and tire combo set specifically for off-roading. I like my wheels and tires that I have on the truck now. However, they're not necessarily the best for off-roading. They are all-terrain, but they're not aggressive all-terrain.
You also need to be careful when you get newer tires because depending on the type of tire, it also generates more noise.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're looking for tires, just keep that in mind.
Well, if we're going off-roading at that point, then it doesn't really matter too much about road noise because we're not going to be on the asphalt as often. So that's why that's another aspect why I want the 2-wheel and tire combo set. So instead of having to go to the store paying $20-$50 in order to do a tire swap on the wheels, I just be like, yep, here I can do this at home. Just throw on the new wheel and tire combo.
True, but as long as you have the money for it, go right ahead.
Mm-hmm. That's a later upgrade.
Of course. Now, if you get all terrains, that's what all terrains are for. It's a good in between mud tires and street tires. That's why I usually go for all terrains.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to keep spending money on 2 sets of tires and 2 sets of rims.
Yeah, it's going to be a big down payment, but in the end, I personally believe it'll be worth it for me.
Well, for me, with the suspension upgrades, my current ones, we have the DSSV suspension system. That by itself is already pretty good. That's the factory suspension that comes with the Bison, the ZR2 packages. But, they do go bad eventually. I think after that, I'm going to go for a little more expensive setup. So you have the King shocks. The Kings, those are very expensive, but they are the top of the line. I think I saw a set for the Colorado. They were $3,000.
Jeez.
But yeah, no, they're expensive, but they're supposedly really, really good. These are the kinds of suspensions that they use in races. And
why would you want to use that as a daily driver at that point?
Because they still work as a daily driver. Now, I think by that point, I think I'm gonna have enough money to have another commuter vehicle. Because I'm telling you, these the DSSVs, they'll last me a while, but they do eventually go bad. But if I do end up getting the King shocks, I think I am going to end up lifting the truck a little more, because at that point it's just going to be a project truck, and I'll have my daily commuter.
Yeah.
And then I can put much bigger tires on it. Now there is a conversion kit you have to put on the Bison to put bigger than 32s on there. So it's a 33-inch tire conversion kit, and it comes with like new fender flares. You have to trim the trim a little bit, but that's about it. But I think you can put much bigger tires on after that.
Yep.
But you have to also do a lift. But I'm also planning on putting a leveling kit on my truck currently, because then I'll lift up the front end a little bit, and then I'll have better approach angle, and it'll be a little bit nicer.
Yeah, so just for clarification, the sooner upgrade, you're just going to do the leveling kit, and then later down the road, when you eventually get a second commuter car, you'll get the King
shocks.
King shocks. Okay, yeah, I thought there was another word before shocks, but I guess not. I was going to say King Ranch shocks, but I was like, yeah, that doesn't seem right.
Yeah, no, that's not right. Yeah, it'll be much nicer. I think they do absorb shock. They do absorb the bumps a little better. The DSSVs, they make long travel versions of them from Chevy, and I could get that instead, but most people, they usually go for the more expensive suspension systems after these go out, just because why not, unless you want to spend, I think, to replace the DSSVs, they're about the same price. I mean, they may be a little bit cheaper than the King shocks, but they're about the same price as it would be to just buy King. And that's the reasoning that I've seen online lately.
Yeah, so for your commuter car, you could just easily get like a 5,000 POS that gets you from point A to point B, and all you do is commute with it.
Yeah, I mean, if I have good money, then I'll get a nicer commuter, but it would be just straight road car.
Yep.
And then for the tires, for sooner upgrade, I've been actually looking at them recently. It's either going to be the Maxxis. Maxxis is a tire brand. I haven't looked into like the subcategories of what exactly the all-terrain tire is called. It's going to be an all-terrain tire, but they have the Maxxis tires, and then I've also been looking at the Falcon tires, which we talked about in episode 2. I had them on my previous truck. They were nice and quiet. They gave me plenty of grip when I needed it, and they were just good tires all around. So I think that's going to be,
you got stuck in the snow.
Yes, but now I have lockers and all this other stuff that will help me, because any tire, unless it's like a mud terrain tire, is going to get stuck in the snow, especially the snow I went through, because I mean, I slid into a ditch. But now I have front and rear lockers, and I have a winch now, which will help significantly.
Oh yeah, so it looks like the next thing on the the next thing on the list is skid plates. So
for me, I kind of already have all that, because that's what the Bison package is for, is full body armor. It got full Under Armour skid plates, so that's more of all of you, my friend.
Yeah, so for my skid plates, I have one that covers like the oil pan and the front of the engine, and that's like pretty much all I have. I don't know if anybody makes any new skid plates for the Maverick. I don't know if they've done anything different with the Tremor package, because when I was looking at it, it didn't seem like there was anything else to put on it. Like every time I have climbed under there to change the oil.
Yeah, I mean, there are companies out there that'll make custom fabrications for stuff. Now, you can get a fabrication company to make skid plates for you, like a full skid plate setup like I do, but you just have to get it custom made.
Super expensive, and I don't want to have to try to do all of that,
Not, at least not for the Maverick.
Yeah, definitely not for the Maverick. I don't think it'll be worth it. However, eventually, if I do continue this, and if this becomes a really big thing, and we're able to pick up on this, I would love to get a Bronco, and I would be able to get a higher end Bronco and make that all tricked out and use that.
Yeah, I think the highest trim for the Broncos, at least right now, is the Sasquatch.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Or no, well, okay. The highest trim for the Bronco before the Raptor is the Sasquatch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the Raptor is specifically like I don't know if it's designed for off-roading. I think that one's more designed for like speed and loud and cool
Oh no,
ass.
it's designed for off-roading. It's more designed for like Baja
Mm,
off-road, like running
yeah.
through the sand dunes and stuff like that. Now, I have seen people rock crawl them. They're capable of it.
Oh
It's
yeah.
just they're a wider body style, and that's what kind of holds it back whenever you go rock crawling,
Hmm.
from my experience at least.
Oh yeah.
Because essentially, it's the size of a full-size truck.
Well, it depends if you get the two door or four door, which we.
I'm talking about width. I'm talking about the
Oh
width, not the
yes, the
length.
width. Yeah.
Because the Raptor is a wide body, has a wide body kit on it, so it makes it essentially the width of a full-size truck.
Which is totally fine.
So just keep that in mind.
Well, there's a picture right here of the Ford Bronco Raptor in midair. It's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, no, they have some power. Recently, I saw they came out with a tuner upgrade where you can get it done at the dealership, and it gives you 50 more horsepower, and 100 more pounds-feet of torque out
Jeez.
of that twin turbo V6
Cheese.
for the Raptor. Yeah, it's like it puts it up to like 470 horsepower or something like that. It is insane how much power they can push out of that V6.
The technology nowadays crazy, and it's only going to get
Yeah, it's
crazier.
just exactly. It's just going to get better. They're going to be able to push more power out of a more fuel efficient car, or engine, I should say. All right. So next on the list we have recovery gear. Now, for me, I have a Warren winch with the remote control. It's like a wireless remote control for the winch.
Yeah, but I think previously you said you don't have the remote anymore because
Currently,
the previous people lost it and you weren't able to get your hands on one.
by the time that most of you listeners will be listening to this, I'll probably already buy it. It's just the remote control itself is kind of expensive. It's like almost $200 just for the remote.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, it's not cheap. So I was trying to get it from the dealership. They never responded back. Or the guy said, I'll look into it, and I never heard back from him.
Yeah, he's like,
But
"Oh, I sold the car. I don't care anymore." Ties cut
it's
off.
kind of how it feels. Yeah, I'm going to look into it. It's kind of expensive, but we'll see. Other recovery gear I have the traction boards, and that's really all I have currently. I mean, between the winch and the traction boards, there's not really much that I
You also
need,
have a hijack.
other than like, I do have that too for repairs as
Well,
well.
you could also use that as recovery if necessary, but that's like super sketchy.
Yeah, but that's like as a substitute for a winch.
Substitute as a winch or like as a lift to like lift up the car so that way you can get more traction on other ones, you know?
No, that's not how it's used. It's essentially a jack. It's a car jack.
Okay.
And they are very dangerous because if you so I saw this online where if you as you let it down, it doesn't really have like a smooth let down. It just kind of drops. Well, it doesn't really drop. It like goes through the rungs on the metal bar itself, and so the handle's really long. So the handle will just swing up and down really fast. And if that thing whacks you in the face, yeah, good luck. That's gonna hurt a lot, if not send you to the hospital.
That's pretty funny. Pretty funny to imagine the arm
Yeah.
swinging, not somebody getting hurt. No, let me be clear.
Yeah. It's funny from looking from the outside, not funny being the person that gets hit in the face,
Yeah.
What about you, John? What kind of recovery gear are you planning on getting for your Maverick?
Yeah, so currently I have a come along that I mentioned and not tire. Well, I do have a tire repair kit and air compressor. That's like side pieces of it. I also have what is it called? I said it not too long ago. It was the tow rope. Tow rope. I have the tow rope as well, so that way it's easier to reach certain things. And I also have some small yellow traction boards. I also have like some like roadside assistant repair kit that I have, but it's not a whole lot. And I think that's all I have for recovery gear because I don't have a hijack.
Ooh, something we did not mention. We didn't mention the kinetic rope. That is a very good thing to have.
Yes,
especially
yes.
if you need to recover somebody else. That's a good thing to have just on you.
that is something that we could look into. Maybe not both of us need at the same time, but
For future recovery gear, that's what I want to buy. That's
mm-hmm.
not really necessarily something I need, but that is something I want to buy, especially if I'm going out in a group and someone else gets stuck and I don't necessarily want to put that strain on my winch.
Yeah.
You can use the kinetic rope to pull somebody out as well.
Yep.
All right, so the next thing, since that's really all we can do on recovery gear, is lighting. Lighting is a big one that a lot of people really get into, and some people get really crazy with
Mm-hmm.
it.
Even though they don't need everything, it's just like you look at it. Like for example, our art that we have. There's a lot of lights on that, and the kind of off-roading that it's projecting or showing doesn't require all the lighting. You don't need all the lighting all of the time. However, the only lighting I have are my normal headlights and the aux beams that you gave me, which I still haven't put on because I haven't ordered the bracket that we found yet.
Yes. Well, I mean, yeah, for the lighting that you buy is really for your use case that you normally go through. Now, some people need more lighting than others. So for me, I have the ditch lights. So the ones I bought you, they're called ditch lights as the official word for them. As of right now, that's all I have with my headlights. Now, if you are like, if overlanding and camping is like your main thing, you go all the time, sometimes you want to get more light, especially if you do a lot of night runs.
Mm-hmm.
Some people put light bars in their bumpers. Some people put it on the roof racks so they can just have a wider spread of light whenever they're doing night rides. Some people, even if you do a lot of rock crawling, especially if it goes into the night, you can get, what is it called? They're called rock lights. So essentially they go into your wheel wells and they light up the area around your wheels so you can have the right placement for your wheels whenever you go rock crawling at night. And even some people, whenever they go camping, they have lights around their bed racks or even their roofs so they can light up the area around their vehicle. So when you're camping, it's nice to have a lot of light, especially if you're at your campsite. So people will put it around their vehicles to light up the area around, and that's just useful to them, especially if they have the battery capacity for that kind of thing. And that's a whole nother thing we'll talk about a little later in the episode is the power. But lighting, that's essentially what more lighting would do.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm going to go for the full overlanding setup, that's what I would want to do. I want to have the light in my bumper. I want to have the light in my roof rack. I want to have the lights around my bed rack. And that's I mean, it's money, but that's essentially what a fully tricked out setup would be.
Yeah, like
That's what I want for my truck.
yeah, string
but
lights.
That necessarily, yeah. I mean, it's not for everybody, especially if you don't do that kind of thing all the time. But for me, for my ideal setup, that's what I would want for my truck.
Even like string lights are easy to get. Like you can easily get those from like the dollar store, even I believe. Like they'll be cheap, but like the only time you're bringing it out is when you're plugging it into your car and having it at night. And yeah, I agree that would be super helpful, even if it's not just around your roof rack or whatever. You can also just like for the campsite itself, just light up the area. Because when we were camping, we had not a whole lot of light. We had your headlamp. I had my flashlight on my phone. Trevor had a flashlight, lantern combo, and you also had your handheld light, and that was like all the light we had. And
Yeah, and I'm not just talking about string lights, right? When I'm talking about like the bed rack lights.
yeah, you're also talking about the ones to like mount on your car as well, like
Yeah.
mount them so that way you can see. But I was specifically talking about the string lights because we didn't talk.
Yeah,
on that one.
for the everyday camper. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're camping every day overlanding, aren't you not?
Yes. So you can buy those string lights in addition to the lights I'm talking about too, because then you don't always want your campsite lit up by the lights on your truck. Like, so say in the middle of the night, whenever you're getting out, you have those string lights that are on. They're not super bright, but you have at least some light to go see what you need to do, like if you're using the bathroom or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So they are nice to have. That's just an extra thing you can add to your gear list.
And aesthetics.
Yes, and aesthetics. Get that Instagram shot.
Yeah, so another thing we were kind of talking about with the lighting are the roof racks and bed racks. Excuse me. I know you have a bed rack currently, and I'm looking into one as well, but it's a pretty penny, and I don't think I'll be able to convince the wife anytime soon to get that. I'm looking at I believe it's the extrusion. That's what it's called.
Ooh, you're looking at the bougie one.
Yeah, the bougie one, because I want to keep my tonneau cover not tonneau cover. I think it's a tonneau cover. It's the flat one that goes,
Yeah.
yeah, that goes,
Yep.
goes across the bed. I want to be able to keep that and have a roof rack. Correction, not a roof rack, a bed rack. So that way I can put a rooftop tent on that bed rack and mount all of my other gear on there, which adds to the storage.
Agreed. But they also make, not necessarily for your truck, they make bed racks where it's more like a cab instead, where it's, those kind that you see on like truck beds where it's fully enclosed, but it still has like it's on the like roof line of your cab in your truck.
Yeah, those are also called tonneau covers, I believe.
Are they?
Yeah.
But I've seen like ones that are fully encased that have like storage caps on the sides and stuff like that, and on the back you can open up, and it has the weight capacity to put like a rooftop tent on it, or some even have tents built into it to where they have a door on the inside of that cover, and you can go straight up into your tent from the inside of it. I also saw that. I saw that at Overland Expo as well, and those are really cool too. But they're also like $8,000.
Yeah, no, I would not be getting that.
They're not cheap. So,
Correct.
but that would be the ideal setup for mine. If I can get one of those, I can have everything mounted on the outside, have the storage on the inside that's covered, and still have the rooftop tent on top. And I can mount all the lights on the outside too.
Yeah, so it seems like they're just called truck caps, which
caps. That's
yeah,
right.
you had one on the one you currently have, right? Or
the one I have, it's just called a bed rack.
no. I'm not talking about the rack. When you bought the truck, it came with a cap, correct?
No, so that's called the tonneau cover. The cap is the one where it's comes up over your bed. It's at the same roof line as your roof, and it's fully enclosed.
Oh, so you had a tonneau cover.
I had a tonneau cover, yes.
Okay.
But you know what I mean with the caps are the ones that are fully enclosed. Is about the same size, same height as your actual roof, and then it's fully enclosed.
Yes.
And I'll send you a picture of what it looks like later. But those things are really good, and I would love to have one, but they're just really expensive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
now, if you got a Ranger, you could get one too.
No, it's fine.
Eventually.
Anyway, moving on to bumpers. I don't really see a need of getting a better bumper for myself, just because I in my opinion, for what my truck is doing, I don't really need to change the bumper unless I somehow come across a tremor in a junkyard and I'm like, oh yeah, that looks like I'm gonna take that for the bumper for the Maverick. That's the only time I would ever consider getting a new bumper.
I mean, with the new bumper for you, especially with the FX4 package, only thing a new bumper would do, especially if it's going to be a plastic one, would give you more approach angle.
Yeah, because I'm not getting a aftermarket metal bumper. I don't see a point in doing that with this truck.
Not for your current use case, correct. But yeah, if the only reason why you would need a new one for now would be your approach angle. And sometimes that is useful, and sometimes it's kind of useless.
Yeah, I also wouldn't be able to add a winch with the current bumper I have, but the come along is just as good.
Yeah, as long as you have those recovery hooks exposed in the front, you should be fine.
Mm-hmm.
For me, the Bison already has all that. It's got a metal front bumper, has a place for a winch, which it already has the winch, and it has a metal rear bumper as well. And that's really the main thing. There's no point of really changing that out because that is what it is.
Looks dope.
I have no reason to change it out
already.
Yeah, and those bumpers, if if you bought them on their own, they're really expensive. Like really expensive. Like maybe $3,000 by themselves, I think. Don't quote me on that because I'm not an expert. Again, disclaimer, we are not experts on this topic. We are just expressing what we have and what we want. And any information we say, we didn't do prior research, so we're just kind of saying what's from our mind.
Dudes being dudes, if you will.
Dudes being dudes.
So,
But yeah, that's the bumper for me.
all right, moving on to tent and shelter. I currently have a ground tent, but I definitely already previously talked about it. Getting that bed rack and getting a rooftop tent and putting it on that. I'm looking into like a Schmitty-Built for now, unless I can find a nice, easy, cheap one to smooth over the wife. Being like, hey, honey, look at this. I can easily get this, and eventually upgrade later.
Is it so? You're looking at the same kind as mine because mine's the second gen.
For the Schmitty-Built, yes. However, if I'm able to get a cheaper one, I'm going to be looking at the clamshell one.
Now, if by the time you get the bed rack and you're ready for a tent and I'm ready to buy a new tent, I can just sell you mine.
Yeah. Well, we'll cross the road when we get there, you know?
We'll talk about it when we cross that road.
Yeah, we'll get there when we cross the bridges. Yeah, whatever.
No, I get you. But for me, Smitty-Built's a good company, by the way.
For sure.
And my current tent, the Smitty-Built Gen 2, has great water sealing. I haven't had any problems with that. It has an LED light inside, but you need a battery bank to power that. It has good windows, good doors. I haven't really had any issues with that. It has a skylight as well. When you unzip the top of the tent, the rain cover has like a plastic skylight, and it's just comfortable. I mean, it has a 2-inch memory foam mattress, which I may put another inch topper on top of that, just to make it a little more comfortable. Because when I roll around, sometimes in the morning I wake up a little sore, but that may just be me. And
Okay, roly-poly.
It's a good.
You're a roly-poly.
A roly-poly, yes. Sometimes I can be. I'm also a side sleeper too, so my shoulders get a lot of weight on it all night.
And that could probably be easily fixed if you just get more pillows, you know, put in those key positions.
It would also help if I just got another inch topper on it. That's foam. But overall, it's a good tent. It's got latches to hold the tent together so it doesn't fold up on you. And yeah, I mean, it's a good tent. But for me, it just takes a long time to open and pack away. That's my biggest issue with it. And that time, it could save a lot of stuff. Like if you're trapped in a rainstorm, you want to put everything back together as quick as possible. Or even a snowstorm, you want to put things back together as quick as possible. That's why for my future purchase, I think I'm going to try to go with the clamshell style, where you essentially pop the latches open and lift it up, and it's ready to go.
Pretty much. And then you can still add those window opens so that way like you can see. I do like the hard shell ones where it's very similar to the clamshell except you unlatch it in like 2 spots and then it pops open and have a screen or a clear roof on it because I think that would be pretty cool. Like to watch the stars at night.
The clamshell and the hard tops are the same thing. I think all clamshells are hard tops.
Yeah, they're a type of hard top, but I'm talking about like the ones that are square that just pop up.
Oh yeah. You're talking. Okay, yeah. Okay, I see what you're talking about. Yeah, no, those are good too. Those will probably offer you more space.
Yes, and feel less cramped.
Yes, but for me, camping on my own, especially if I'm the only one sleeping in the tent, the clamshell is going to be the best option for me.
Until you get a missus.
You also have to think though, whenever it's a really windy, depending on the way your truck is parked, if you parked into the wind, that wind's just going to go up that ramp on the clamshell and it's going to go over it. But whenever you have the pull up, the one that pulls straight up, you're going to be getting all that wind just coming into the side. That's one advantage to the clamshell over that style, but clamshell also gives you less room than the other one would. So it really depends on your preference at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But that's going to be my thing for the tent, which I'm kind of excited about, but it'll probably be a while before I get a clamshell. Depending on the price, though, if I can find that one I talked about whenever I went to Overland Expo, it said it was $1,000. It was like I think $1,000 online or $900 online. I may end up going for that one because that one's a lot lighter than the Smittybilt, and it's the clamshell style.
Mm-hmm. All right.
The only problem that, sorry, hold on, one more thing. Another problem with the clamshell style is versus the one I have currently is that it takes up more space on your roof. So like I said, with my current one, it folds up like a book. So you get the half size of that book than you would with the clamshell, because the clamshell just lifts straight up. So you have the full floor amount rather than the floor folding in half. So that's another disadvantage to the clamshell than with the other style that I have currently.
Yes, but the advantage to that at that point is you'll still have a lower center of gravity.
For what?
Off-roading in general, because with the one you have, it is a lot taller than the basically very thin thing on top.
Yeah, you're right. You're correct. Because it's just trying to stuff so much into that smaller area. All right, ready to move on to the next one, which is power and electronics. This one's going to be a very technical sounding one.
Yeah, for this one, I don't know a whole lot about the power and electronics. I have like a battery pack, and like that's all I need. I know some people get like solar panels and all of this and all that, and eventually maybe if we're like you're doing it for a couple of days, it'd be super helpful. Just when you're going, just throw the solar panels on, especially if we're planning or if we're gonna do our trip that we're planning, which we definitely are. Pony Express, stay tuned. In like a couple of years, you'll hear about it when we actually get to do it.
Yeah, we're going to have to really plan for that one. That one's going to be a big one.
Mm-hmm.
And a very risky one at that.
Yeah.
But you'll hear about it later. We'll talk about it in a future episode.
Do you have anything else to add for power and electronics?
So power and electronics, it really depends on your use case. If you're an everyday camper, a little power station will work perfectly fine, especially if you're a weekend warrior.
Ooh, yeah.
Just a little power station to charge your phone. Maybe, little things around your campsite. Some people like to have a coffee maker. You better have a big power station for that because it's going to draw a lot of power just for that heating element.
Or hear me out. Here's a better option. Just boil water on the fire that you basically do every single time you go camping. Just boil the water in your own pot and cook it that way.
Oh, trust me, I agree. It's the coffee maker is a little bougie.
Mm-hmm.
But for the seasoned overlanders, I'm not saying such as myself because I'm not that experienced yet. Some people have full power setups. So they have switchboards, they have extra batteries, they have a power management systems, they have the solar panels that charge those batteries. It gets pretty complicated really fast because the battery that you use for your truck, it's essentially just a starter battery, and you don't want to drive everyday stuff onto it. And for the seasoned overlanders, like I said, they have full power systems and everything. So we may get more technical on that one day just because I'm not a super expert on it. But from what I've seen, it gets pretty complicated pretty quickly.
Yeah, so now we're going to go talk about navigation and communication. I know we both currently use Onyx off. I know other people use I can't think of it right now. Gaia. Yep, that's one. But that's not what my roommate uses. He uses something else. He has like the watch and everything that hooks up to it. I can't quite remember right now. I'll get back to you guys on that.
Shoot. Oh.
Yeah. It's a very, very common one. Garmin. Yes, Garmin. Yes, that's exactly what it is. Garmin.
Yeah, those get expensive.
Oh, yeah. But that's like what he uses. He has like a Garmin radio, Garmin radio in his car, Garmin satellite walkie-talkie. That's what he uses for communication. What we use for communication is I have Craftsman built walkie-talkies, and that's pretty much it.
Hey, they came in handy on that camping trip.
They did, especially when I went through too while you were hogging my charger.
Hey, I have solved that issue now, though.
Will we be able to communicate, though? That's the big thing, even if I don't get this same upgrade that you have.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good upgrade, especially if it's a more permanent, not permanent, addition to the truck, but it's more of like a more consistent power, so nothing's going to die, and it has a bigger range because it has a bigger antenna instead of the walkie-talkies. But yeah, so you use Onyx Off Road for your app, and then you use your walkie-talkies. But this, for me, I have the Midlands radio, which it's going to be a great upgrade, especially if I need to talk to somebody that I'm on the trip with. And I use Onyx Off Road as myself, which it connects to my phone, and also connects to my truck for Apple CarPlay, and I can have two screens, so I can have maybe music on one and then Onyx Off Road on my truck, which makes it really good. So, but I'm sure there'll be more stuff in the future, better upgraded radio, just different things that I can use for. I also have a satellite phone as well, just in case I do get off the grid and something bad happens.
All right, it seems like you don't want to go ahead and move on to the next topic because you had a long pause there. We'll go ahead and talk about some camping gear.
Oh, I was figuring you had something to add.
No, I didn't really have anything else to add into that one. Again, we're not entirely super knowledgeable in that. Again, we're starting off and all this and that. So
next, we'll talk about some camping gear. This is just stuff that makes life camping wise nice. I mean, you got your sleeping bags, you got your blankets, you got your pillows, you got your cooking wear, and you got your food. What kind of camping gear do you have currently, John?
yeah, so for me, I just have some coffee pot. I've got cast iron. Some things I'm looking into getting though is like a stovetop, probably butane. I know you have a butane one and a what is it the propane one, propane and propane accessories.
All right, King of the Hill. Yeah, I mean, that's really all you need. It's not like you're going to be using an electric stove or anything. And my propane one is very simple. It's just a one burner propane one. I may end up upgrading to a two burner just to make things a little easier, which I can cook more, cook faster, and stuff like that. The butane one, it's just another way of cooking it. There's no real big difference between butane and propane. It's harder to find the butane canisters than you would the propane ones, so I would imagine propane's a little better. And you can run more stuff off of propane too, like if you have a propane fire pit as well. Fire pits is another camping gear that a good one to have, especially if you can't have like a wood burning fire in certain areas.
Yeah. So again, there's not a whole much that I have, and definitely looking for more. So, yep.
I mean, what kind of cooking setup do you have? Is it just, do you have a stove or are you cooking everything over the fire?
No, everything is over the fire for me and my wife right now. We make a lot of hobo packs. If you guys don't know what hobo packs are, they're just pretty much just meat, potatoes, and some spices, and you wrap it up in tin foil and you can throw it onto the fire. Pre-cook like some of the meat if you need to, so that way it's either browned or like just cooked enough, and basically throwing it onto the fire is heating it up. So for me, there's a lot of pre-staging when we go camping.
I would recommend at least buying like a cheap propane stove. They're not super expensive. You can cook way more on it because you're not on a fire. You can use pots and pans, and it doesn't destroy your cooking ware as much too if you do it over a stove.
Yeah, like I was saying not too long ago, I'm looking into getting a stove top butane. I think it's going to be the Ozark Trail one, which isn't too expensive, and Ozark Trails tends to be like most of what I have. I also have just a bunch of like camping accessories, like it's the tent that I have and all of the tools that I have.
How long do you think you're going to keep doing a ground tent? I mean, ground tent is perfectly fine. A lot of people use ground tents, but I mean, you'll need like a sleeping pad. Do you plan on upgrading your sleeping pad, or do you can't plan on keeping the same thing you're using right now? Or do you plan on getting a blow up mattress?
Yeah, so for what I'm using to sleep on the ground right now is actually kind of funny. I have just a single blue foam mat, and I also have a lawn chair insert that's pretty comfy. And it's what I sleep on. last time I went camping on the Hoh River, it was really comfortable. Also, due to the fact that I was on a bunch of pine needles, and it was just so soft. It was softer than my bed, surprisingly.
Uh, is Olivia
No,
comfortable
not at
whenever y'all
all.
sleep in the
She
tent?
wants to get a cot. She's like, oh, we need something like this, and it's like, that's like really expensive, and if we do that, then we'll have to go out a lot more. And she goes,
I would, for both of you, I would just get a blow up mattress because it's cheaper and it
mm-hmm.
fits both of you and it's more comfortable.
However, if I do the upgrade to the rooftop tent, then we won't need to get that blow up mattress. Just saying.
That is true. That is true. I agree. That's why I asked if how long you're gonna be
Yeah,
using a ground tent.
probably for a couple more years, but I don't think getting a shoot air mattress temporarily. I don't think I need to. Maybe we can get one for her and call it good. But for me, ground is fine. I'm young. I'm young enough to where it's just thumbs up. You know.
You do you, my friend. Camping gear for me. I mean, I have the basic essentials. I have a hatchet. I have my tent, which has the foam mattress in it, so I'm not really needing any of the other stuff. I do have a sleeping bag that I put in the tent, and a blanket, and my pillows. I also have my stoves and food bins. I mean, I have a bin specifically for camping gear, and then I have a bin specifically for my cooking ware and my cooking essentials, I guess. Then, I mean, there's really not much. I have fire starters. Yeah, not really much to it. What I want to get? I would
Hmm.
want. Ooh, we didn't talk about. We didn't talk about storage.
Oh, we talked a little bit about it, but not. It was just like a hey, sprinkle like the
So
Salt
there
Bay.
is something that I do want to do, especially for storage. This one actually I'm kind of excited about. For my back seat is kind of like a bench seat. So it's like 2/3 of the seat are together. They lift up, and then there's a storage space under there. Now, what my plan is, I'm planning to take the two seat part and taking that out, putting like a drawer system in there. So when you open up the door, you can just open the drawers and you have an enclosed storage space in there as well. Leaving the one seat on, I think it's the passenger side, for like anybody else who's coming along, they'll still have a seat. And then in the bed of the truck, they do make this storage cubby drawer system that you open the bed of the truck and you pull the drawer system out. I forget what it's called though, and I really want to remember what it's called. But it also has a flat part in the top to where you can still put stuff in the bed of your truck. But whenever you close the tailgate and if you lock it, no one can open that storage system that's in the bed of the truck. So that's a big one. Even with the enclosed system, it still gives you storage space in the bed of your truck. So, like you said, the truck bed cap, you can still have this storage system in there as well with it. So that's what I'm excited for. I'm most likely gonna do that to my truck, even if I don't get the cap. And with the back seat of my truck, I'll actually get one of Chris, the guy that I went to Overland Expo with, and who we're
Hmm.
probably gonna end up interviewing here soon. His buddy does a lot of furniture work, and I might get him to build me something for that, which will be really really cool. But yeah,
Nice, nice.
I'll keep all my camping gear in there too. Just be more permanent. I think you have anything to add? Oh, you wanted to do your poll.
Yeah, so just as a quick side note, for you guys, what gear do you think we should get? And is there anything that you guys disagree with what we've been saying so far? Just leave a comment, email at us. Uh, nice, good, bad, whatever. Just
The
interaction is
good,
nice,
bad, and the ugly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so for the poll that I have, I would like to know for you guys is a stove. Do you guys cook on a stove, fire, or cast iron? And which one you guys prefer?
For me personally, I would prefer a stove just because it's more freeing and you don't have to have a fire around.
I do like cooking on a fire. However, for me, I also do like the stove. The fire is always nice to cook on. Sometimes it's not always convenient. However, there's always just something nostalgic about cooking on a fire. The cast iron you can either use on a fire or a stove. So, like, if you guys just use cast iron, then sure, cast iron, you know.
Now, if you have a fire pit stove topper and you cook some burgers on that thing and get that woodsy, was it the wood taste into those patties? That's what you need for a fire. That'll be nice. You know what I'm talking about, right?
No,
So
not
it's
really.
like a grill topper. You put this like grill metal thing over your fire,
Oh, yes, yeah.
and you
Sorry.
can cook things on top of it. Now, if you wanted to do over the fire stuff, that's what you would need for that. Then essentially that's a stove right there, but it's still a little different.
A different
Yes,
heating method,
but
yeah.
I mean, for everyday things where you can't have a fire or you just need to make something real quick, a stove would be good, especially if you're stopping on the side of the road and you want to whip something up. The stove would be your best bet for me.
Or just sandwiches if you're just stopping on the side
Depends
of
on
the
what
road.
you're doing. Like if you're doing a long trip, and you want to make a full lunch meal, that's what you would want to do.
A full lunch meal to me is just sandwich
It's
and
all
chips,
about
man.
preference, my friend. But I think that kind of sums up what we wanted to talk about here today. Alrighty, well, if you enjoyed this episode of Adventures Beyond the Horizon, where we talked about camping gear and gear that we wanted to put in our trucks and that we currently have, please follow and rate our episode and our podcast because it really does help us out. It gets word out there and it helps Spotify recommend us to more people and or other platforms as well. So if you would like to also contact us, we have our email, which I forget what it is. I think it's adventuresbeyondthehorizon16@gmail. And then we also have the comment section where you can leave us comments. So leave it there.
Stay tuned for our next episode. We'll be diving into the psychology of overlanding. It's going to be an adventure you won't want to miss. Until next time, keep exploring and pushing beyond the horizons. Safe travels and happy adventuring. Peace.
Out.